Hello and welcome to today's episode of So What's the Catch? I think this is the first episode I'm doing without my braces on.
Oh, yeah, congrats, Josh.
Yeah, the 3-year journey is complete. Now I'm wearing my retainers, so
That's awesome.
yeah.
Stay out of any street fights for a couple days.
You got
Get a few selfies before you do.
Selfie! Click. Anyway, how are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Doing great. Happy to be here with you guys. Always excited to do the show. The dunk contest sucked, didn't it?
Yeah.
Worst contest ever.
Yeah, it's right behind your head there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
that was pretty horrible.
Yeah. So I guess that's where we're starting then. I was there for it on Saturday night. I went to the Clorox Rising Stars Challenge on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good. I like the new format of having the mini tournament.
Yeah.
And then you look at Saturday. Oh, I agree with you. The dunk contest was awful. I wouldn't say the 3-point contest was absolutely amazing or anything, but it was good. And I enjoyed the new format for the skills challenge of having the teams and having the 4 individual competitions and having those each be worth like 100 points or whatever. I thought the new old format had gotten a little bit blah. So I like that they changed it up a little bit.
What James, about you? Want to start or you want me to take off?
You go right ahead.
Yeah. So Josh, I'll start with the skills competition. Yeah, I like that they switched it up a bit because that's always been stale to me, but I think it was way too long. I think that it just should have ended a half hour sooner. So I think if there's a way to like maybe mix it up every year, but make it shorter, I don't know. I wasn't about that. The 3-point contest was okay, but I mean, the best 3-point shooters in the league weren't in it. So there's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only highlight of Saturday evening, if you ask me. And highlight, I use that term loosely. But the dunk contest sucked, and they need to do something about the dunk contest because it's been so for, I mean, I'd say a majority of the last 10 years have been duds.
Yeah, I think that's a totally fair criticism on every front that you touched on. I can see why you would say the skills challenge took too long. So I understand that, and I agree with you to a certain extent about the 3-point contest. Some of the shooters I thought were valid to be in it. Others I'm just like, why are you here type thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Cat shot great. He definitely earned the title, you know. Usually if it's a big man that wins it, it's usually because it's a low score. He actually shot the ball really well, so good for him. But I would have liked to have seen some better shooters in it. I don't understand. They need to do something to attract star players to these events.
Right.
And I think money's the only way to do it. So
yeah, I agree with
some money at it.
Yeah, like if you win, like the charity of your choice gets $25,000, for example, $25,000. Obviously, they would probably do more than that, but just putting a number out there type thing.
I think doing things for charity is great, but in this case, I'm thinking the only thing that's going to save the dunk contest is $1 million cash prize. Like you need to put something real on the table that'll get people excited to participate. And I think $1 million is great. If the NBA wants to, donate something on behalf of the contest, sure. But like, unless there's some kind of player incentive to be in these events, they're going to keep having, just rosters of players taking part in these.
Right. You want to go off now, James?
I'll go off. Skills contest never really does anything for me. It's just kind of like, okay, this is just something to put on TV for them to get advertising dollars and whatever. It doesn't really interest me all that much. 3-point contest was fine. I don't care for the do ball or the fact that there's a rack of money balls now. I don't care for that at all. I would rather just have it be the way it was before. They're like, oh, this is the highest scoring 3-point contest. Well, yeah, no shit. You gave them like 20 extra points they can possibly make or whatever. My math's completely wrong on that. It's 14.
No, but I get your point.
Yeah, it's 14 extra points that they're getting with the 2 do balls and the 4 extra money balls. It's just like, what are we doing here? It's cool that you made all those shots, but you got like twice the amount of points you should have. Okay.
Yeah.
I
think the best shooter should win. Like the person who makes the most 3-pointers should win. Like take out the money balls completely. Like just make it about who's the best shooter, because like those ones that were great, like back when Larry was winning a couple in a row, like it wasn't all these bonus balls and this and that. It was, I don't even know if they had 1 bonus ball per rack when he was playing.
I don't know. I'm not up to par in my knowledge of
my point being
history.
My point being is in the 80s, like guys like Larry Bird loved to play in that contest. And, and it was done, in my opinion, the right way back then. And they try to get too creative and involve too many sponsors with the Mountain Dew ball. And it's like, like at the end of the day, the person who makes the most 3-pointers, like can actually lose by a significant margin. And I don't think that that's really fair.
Yeah. A guy could make every single one of his shots, not make the do ball and like go 1 for 5 on the money ball rack and lose.
Yeah, which I think is ridiculous.
What is that? I mean, it's just dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
I agree.
But let's talk about the slam dunk contest. Okay. As I already alluded to, worst slam dunk contest ever.
100%.
I hate it. It was so bad. The slam dunk contest is beyond relevancy. First of all, the All-Star events in general are beyond relevancy. That's a completely different story. But looking at the slam dunk contest, the quality was extremely poor. I don't know what you get 3 attempts bullshit, but it doesn't count as an attempt until you actually go towards the hoop.
Oh, yeah.
Why did Jalen Green attempt that 1 dunk? That was like 10 minutes of him watching just whiff.
It was like watching Birdman all over again. That competition, he missed like 18 in a row.
It was so bad. Like, what are we doing? Why do you get this 3 attempts and some attempts count, some aren't attempts, some are just like they stopped early enough that it doesn't count?
Yeah.
This is why they used to have a clock, okay? You get like a minute and a half, whatever the hell it was, to get your dunk off.
Yeah.
Right. Like
it's to prevent this. I mean, first he comes out with the stupid NFT thing on his chain. We're like, oh, they're going to dunk with the NFT. Then he takes it off. It's like, what the hell was the point of that? Then he completely botches his dunks. I'm like, this is terrible.
Oh, and then the Timberland dunk, like how long it took him to lace up those Timberlands. It was like, this could be the greatest dunk of all time, but I'm already out.
I don't give a shit. I don't care. The Timberland dunk. I forgot about the Timberland dunk because how bad the entire product was.
Right. Ooh. I mean, like, I feel like the dunk contest hasn't been good since that battle between Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine. I couldn't tell you one good dunk contest after that.
Let's be real. That was like the death rattle of the dunk contest. It was already dead. That was just like the last movements of the body before it actually stops, doing whatever in the death process.
We might not have I agree with James. We might not have the dunk contest by now if it wasn't for that one, just because those two were so spectacular and did some of the most incredible things that we've ever seen in dunk contests.
Yeah, and Aaron Gordon absolutely got robbed in that dunk contest.
Right. And regardless of the outcome, though, like those are so rare and so few and far between. And unless you change the rules or you get, bigger stars involved in it or better dunkers. I mean, Ja Morant is a better dunker than any of those guys. Mm-hmm. You need to have the best of the best if you're going to try to pull off a competition like that and make it look good.
Especially if you're going to have it go on last.
Right.
Because they try to make the dunk contest be like the marquee event of All-Star Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was there, and to harp on what you were saying earlier, James, about how it took 10 minutes for somebody to complete 1 dunk. My sister and I were looking at each other and we're like, wait, how does that not count as an official attempt? Like, he still has 3 tries. We're just like, what counts? Like, it was so confusing.
It was just bad, is what it was. It was just bad. It was a very bad product. We're sitting here trying to watch, and we don't know what's happening. We don't know, what counts as an attempt. We don't know when the attempt actually happens, and when they actually do it, they miss it twice. It's just like, this is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be real here. The dunk contest jumped the shark like a decade ago, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Back when it was, Blake Griffin jumping over a car, or when Danny Green blew out a cupcake on the rim. Okay, those were the moments you knew that the dunk contest was on its last legs. Okay,
or when Dwight Howard came out dressed as Superman and he didn't even dunk it; he literally just threw the ball in.
Oh, you mean his jump shot from the free throw line?
Yeah, that was.
Hey,
ridiculous.
look who showed up!
Churk, what's up, buddy?
Not much. I just Yes, the All-Star weekend, man, it was pretty I liked it, besides the dunk contest.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about right now. I mean, the real issue with the dunk contest is you think back in the day, the dunk contest was the opportunity for the league's stars to show themselves to the entire country on a national stage.
Right.
That doesn't matter anymore. Okay?
You just use the league's role players.
It's nothing to do with the role players. It's just the fact that the national stage isn't what it used to be, because anyone from anywhere can watch any player play on any given night. Okay?
Right.
You look at it, and let's say you live in Portland and you want to watch the Bulls. You pull up NBA, whatever it is.
League Pass.
Thank you. And you can watch the Bulls that night if they're not on national television. You
Right.
know, but back in the day, if you lived in Portland and you wanted to see Michael Jordan, unless the Trailblazers were playing the Bulls, or they were on a national game, which were not that common back then.
Right.
People need to remember that. It was the game of the week, not the game of the night, where there's 5 or 6 national broadcast games a week. Okay.
Yeah, they have a night.
Across all the different channels.
There was only 3 broadcasters, period. So, what I mean?
I mean, cable really wasn't that much of a thing. And if you had it, you were very lucky, and it was not as readily available.
Was this back in the Bill Walton days?
Back then, even up to the mid-90s.
Even the late 90s, yeah.
So Bill Walton days.
So yes, all the way back to Bill Walton days. But my point is that for someone in Portland to see Michael Jordan, unless they're playing the Blazers, that was your opportunity to see Michael Jordan.
That's a good point.
Contest or the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my stance on all All-Star games, really. Whether it's hockey, whether it's baseball, basketball. I mean, football is the worst out of all of them. But
the Pro Bowl is terrible.
But
it's terrible.
You look
my God! Can we just take a second to recognize that Churk, who always hypes on how important it is for somebody to get into the Pro Bowl, just admitted that the Pro Bowl itself is terrible. Yay!
I said, but getting the recognition is what matters.
I mean, that recognition doesn't mean anything, but I mean, let's be real here. But there's no way to fix the slam dunk contest. It's done. It's dead. Honestly, kill it. I don't want to see it anymore.
Get LeBron in.
37-year-old LeBron James?
Yes.
If he can do it when he's 27, he's not going to do it when he's 37. Okay?
Yeah.
There's no fixing it. Just kill it, end it, bring it back in 5 years, and people will be excited for it. But you keep churning the same thing out over and over again. You see people complain about video game franchises.
Aaron Gordon was good in the dunk contest.
How long ago was that?
That was 2020.
No,
that was not 2020.
That was,
there wasn't one in 2020.
There was one where he dunked over Taco Fall.
Wow.
You remember that?
Anyway.
Dunking over people isn't impressive anymore.
Yeah.
And someone does it every dunk contest. They dunk over somebody. Cool.
Yeah, Kenny wasn't that hyped when I heard him announcing that. He was like, oh, he's going to dunk over Taco Fall.
I mean, but there's no way to fix the current product, okay? Take it away for a couple years. Then people will get excited for it when they bring it back.
Maybe Colin Sexton could go in.
I think that I still would like it, because let's be real though, the courtside. I mean, the stars were still out. There were so many stars courtside for all of these events. So it's still a big draw in terms of the ambiance and All-Star weekend, and a lot of money came into the city of Cleveland. So there's a lot of good. So I do want to see him try to save it rather than scrap it completely. But I think you got to do something to get bigger stars to want to participate. So like I said, I'd like to see a cash prize. I think $1 million winner would be awesome. But yeah, if you're not going to have the best dunkers in there, then at least bring some star power with some name recognition and give them one attempt. And if they miss, so be it. Make it a half-hour event.
One attempt, or go back to the time system, maybe, so we don't have to watch. Or
how about this? Everyone gets one. Everybody does their best dunk. Forget everybody. Oh, well, I want to save my best dunk for the third dunk, and then they never even get to do it because they don't make it that far.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, give everybody one dunk.
One dunk, one attempt, that's it. You miss, you lose.
Yeah, and then here's another idea I had. I mean, I don't know how you would really incorporate it with the current format, but give the person with the best in-game dunk during the All-Star game the trophy if you're not going to have a contest. You know what I mean? Like, give some incentive to do some cooler in-game dunks.
I've got a better replacement for the dunk contest, guys.
You do?
A one-on-one tournament.
Players won't do that.
They wouldn't do it. They have too much to lose.
Come on. That's exactly what they need. That's exactly what they need is a one-on-one.
Not realistic.
I would love to see that.
You're not getting star players in the dunk contest. You're not going to get some guy risking tearing his ACL in a one-on-one competition.
Yeah, look at the race, the NFL Pro Bowl. Like, Tyreek Hill was in it. He should have smoked everybody, and he didn't even try. Like, that's what would happen if you had this one-on-one. Because people don't.
I mean, in terms of the dunk contest, Bryan, I liked your idea. Like, there are street ballers who – they might not be good enough overall to get into the NBA, but what these guys can do when they go up for dunks and stuff is incredible. So maybe you bring some of them in, and maybe you turn it into like some sort of like NBA versus street type.
Yeah, I like the idea that I came up with originally, but James made a really good point. It's going to be very tough to get the players union to accept bringing in anybody that's non-NBA to participate.
They'll say no. They'll veto it.
So yeah, like it was an idea in my head that like in concept works out well, because there are some really awesome dunkers on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok that are doing some real crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, James made a really good point, and since then I just don't think it's a viable option.
Yeah.
You think Taco should enter the dunk contest?
Yeah. Of course you find a way to include Taco Fall.
I fixed that lighting, by the way.
Is he even in the G League All-Star game?
No. I don't even know if the G League had an All-Star game.
Or should they bring in Robert Sacre?
Oh, Jesus. Let's not talk about him. Let's talk about the actual All-Star game.
You actually know who that is, James?
Yes. You've been talking to me about Robert Sacre for almost a year now, okay? Do you know who that is? Yes, I know who that is. Let's talk about the actual game. Okay?
You won the Japanese dunk contest.
Anyway, moving on.
We had 3 quarters of bullshit. Then we had a quarter where they actually tried.
It's already hour 2, guys.
I mean, I know your feelings about the All-Star game, because when I texted you guys and asked if you were watching it, you were one of the first. I think, James, you were the first one. You're like, nope. And I'm like, yep, that's not surprising in the least.
I think I was watching Simpsons reruns.
I do want to point out, too, I think there was like a Super Bowl hangover because of how good that Super Bowl was. And now everyone's like, the All-Star game?
What does that have to do with it?
Anyway, how about the actual game? Let's talk about Curry turning the crowd. Like, how about that? Like, Curry got booed ruthlessly all weekend, as he should.
Yes.
And then he went absolutely bananas from 3-point range and made about 18,000 3-pointers. And he actually was starting to get some cheers from the Cleveland crowd by the end of the game from the highlights and stuff that I saw. And that's pretty impressive. That's a tough thing to do, to come into Cleveland and to turn a crowd that absolutely despises you with a performance like that. That's pretty special. So I would say the Steph Curry performance alongside LeBron hitting the game winner,
Yeah.
Those 2 moments were really good for the NBA. So overall, I think that those were probably 2 of the highlights of the entire weekend for sure.
Well, when you're on Team LeBron and you're helping Team LeBron win with a team full of other Cavs players, of course they're going to cheer for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what
But let's be real here. They should have took the 3-point contest trophy away from Karl Anthony Towns. Just gave it to Steph Curry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Cat deserved it.
let's be real. Steph Curry is much more impressive than Karl Anthony Towns was in the 3-point contest.
Let me ask you this, James. He's had kind of an off year shooting. Do you think that this is what he needed to kind of get back into his zone? Or do you think
absolutely.
it won't have any effect at all? Because
I think it will. You know, gets a little mojo, gets a little swagger going.
I think so too.
Crowd in Cleveland, like, come on, that's all going to get everything going for him.
I think so too. It makes me fear the Warriors a lot more now.
Yeah, you should fear the Warriors because they're on the verge of getting Draymond back. James Wiseman's going to be back healthy at some point.
He hasn't done
CP3's out. How about that news?
I was just going to bring that part up also. CP3 is out.
Mm-hmm.
So Phoenix is going to drop in the standings because no matter what they do, there's no way you can replace what Chris Paul does. And the Warriors are going to be like, yeah, we had our down year last year or the past 2 years. Guess what? We're back. Hi.
I don't want them back.
They're all the way back.
Well, too bad,
But
sure.
that means the Cavs also are back too.
That does not.
No, the two are not connected like that
Yes,
anymore.
they are. That means a championship's coming.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
Let's keep talking about the game now. Okay.
Yeah.
Who would win that?
Do you like the format of the game?
Yeah,
The 3 quarters, then the 24 points for the Elam ending.
I like it.
Why do you like it, Churk? And then I'll tell you why I don't like it.
I like it because it's just unique. It's nothing really. It's like there's no time limit at the end. It's just the two teams battling it out.
Okay. Josh, what are your thoughts?
I have mixed feelings about it. I like it on one hand, but I don't on the other because on one hand, the first 3 quarters allows the players to just have fun and make it an exhibition game. And, like, I think that's what the fans enjoy. And then in the 4th quarter, it's like, okay, it's winning time. And I don't want to say go all out, but they try harder at least. So for me, I like that contrast.
Yeah, I like how it sets up the final quarter to actually be competitive. So I do agree with you there, but like breaking it up into like mini games and then having a target score of 163, it's just like they just make things so complicated. It's like just make things simpler, like quit trying to do too much, I do
You
like
want them to try.
I do like that it gets them to try hard for at least one full period. But I also agree with Josh, like if I'm going to watch an exhibition match, like I want to see him do some cool stuff. Like I don't want to see people get hurt, so like let the guys make some alley-oops and stuff like that. So you don't want to make it too competitive, but at the same time, you don't want to make it not competitive at all. So I don't know. I have a little bit of mixed feelings about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Remember that time when Shaq missed that free throw on purpose just to dunk it? A moment like that.
I mean, the one positive thing I'll say about it is that they at least try in the 4th quarter. Okay,
Yeah.
But the 3 quarters of bullshit going up to the 4th quarter, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, it was cool to see, Steph Curry just make ridiculous 3-pointer after ridiculous 3-pointer, but it's such like just ridiculously bad basketball.
I agree.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he made a cool 3-pointer. Oh, that guy dunked the ball, and they like just let people go past them. It's not even like It's not even the pretend defense that James Harden puts out 82 games a year.
Yeah.
It's somehow less than that, which I don't know that was possible. But here we are.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, of all the All-Star games, I would say MLB is probably the best because you can't really, like, go easy in that one because if Aroldis Chapman is in pitching 100 miles per hour, you're not going to just be like, whatever, think.
Baseball is the hardest one to phone it in on. That's the thing.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
You can't really phone it in baseball.
Right.
Which is what I'm saying. But, and then there's the Pro Bowl where it's just Nah, I'm not even gonna try to tackle you. Like,
What about the MLB All-Star game?
That's what we just said.
We just were talking about that.
did you what?
Black out.
MLB has the best All-Star game. And everything else doesn't matter. That's my analysis.
Should UFC do one?
How?
That doesn't even make sense.
They tried to do it in NASCAR and stuff, and it's just like those sports just don't lend themselves to an all-star game.
What was NASCAR's like? I want to hear that, Brian.
They just do an
I have no idea. I
They
just know
just
they have
do a
one.
standard all-star race like at Charlotte. That's it.
That's all it is. Is just a. Did they even try?
I mean, you can't not try when you're racing at like 250 miles per hour or whatever it is.
Right.
So
Your
that
life's
could be a
kind
good
of on the
all-star
line
game, I
there, so
guess.
you gotta try a little bit.
Yeah. But like, I'm pretty sure for the MLS soccer or MLS All-Star game, they have like the MLS All-Stars go up against like a European soccer team.
Oh, and that's always hilarious to watch. I
They always
remember
get snapped.
I remember like 12 years ago, it was the MLS All-Stars versus Manchester United. They won like 7-0. It was
That was
hilarious.
glorious.
Ooh, Manchester won.
Yeah.
Manchester won like 7-0 like 12 years ago. And
It wasn't
just
even like their best
it was like
squad.
the B squad.
It was
They
their,
should have
like,
had Freddie
reserves.
Adu. That made the difference.
Like Wayne Rooney wasn't even playing. Okay,
No.
You remember him, James?
Edwin Van der Sar was not in goal. Okay,
Right.
That's
You know, it was all
hilarious.
Would Freddie Adu make a difference?
Freddie Adu would not make a difference because Freddie Adu stunk. Okay.
You think he would score a goal in his?
Excuse
What
me.
was that?
Would he score a goal in his own goal?
Would Freddie Adu score an own goal? I don't know if he's good enough to have an own goal.
No, like on his team. Like
You probably find a way to miss.
There we go. You find a way to miss.
You remember Freddie Adu?
Hey, MLS starts on Saturday though, so
I'm
Touche
ready.
for
I'm ready. It's
throwing in
always
MLS
always
referencing that.
entertaining.
I'm wearing a lot of black and gold today. I've got the Pittsburgh black and gold, and then I've got in honor of MLS starting this weekend.
Oh, that's an awesome shirt.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Man, that Columbus jacket. Why are you wearing it with Pittsburgh, man? That's like Cincinnati fans right there.
What?
The people who like say they want Cincinnati win because it's Ohio.
Shane Russell says CBJ.
Columbus Blue Jackets, yeah. No,
She
but
just learned hockey. She just went to like her first hockey game. She was texting me. She's like, "So I just learned that they're not called quarters because there's not 4 of them." So I was like, yeah, there's not 4 quarters. So she's learning though. She lives in Columbus, so she's a Blue Jackets fan. But she actually got me the Columbus Crew shirt. So
Oh, that's
thank
awesome.
you for the
Yeah.
shirt.
back to the just to go back to the All-Star game. What do you guys think about the 75th anniversary on the
the 75 team.
the 75 team?
Touchdown.
The Indian 75 team is about expected. The people that are on the list, right? I mean, everyone knew Michael Jordan was going to be number 1. Okay?
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve it.
Yes, he does.
Are you
And
It's
kidding me?
LeBron.
Michael Jordan's number 1. LeBron is perfectly fine as number 2.
Number 2 is Kareem. Michael Jordan's number 3.
Okay, that's a take. But
I'm standing by that one too.
Michael Jordan's number 1. I'm sorry.
Kareem.
Michael
What?
Jordan's 1. LeBron is 2.
Look,
Yeah.
Everything else, I don't give a shit after that.
okay, wait. I can, even though I was born like late in the 90s, so I didn't get to appreciate Jordan like you guys did, which watching his highlights, I wish I was born earlier because I would have loved to have watched him.
The highlights don't even do it justice.
It was amazing.
I know. Dude, like
He still needed Scotty.
I wish I could have been alive to watch
Do you
him.
really
I
want to
still
open
remember
up that Pandora's box, Churk?
What?
Do you really want to open up that Pandora's
Yes,
box?
I do. He needed Scotty, and LeBron took a team with nobody.
With nobody.
Okay,
Wait,
He-
which
he-
team
he
are you-
wanted
The
some
teams that
people's
won had
growth.
nobody, Churk. I want you to say that right now because that's what you just said.
let me rephrase that. He did have Larry Hughes, but he stunted his growth. I want to point that out right now.
Larry Hughes is a questionable person to bring up at all in this conversation. What?
No, I'm
Where
just
did that
talking
come
about
from?
like who he had. He had like Drew Gooden, Z.
Go look at the first Bulls team that Jordan took to the playoffs, dude.
Yeah.
The team that was the cocaine circus. Are you kidding?
Yeah. I mean, he was drafted high in the draft. He's good. So the team he went to was not very good, and he immediately made them a playoff contender.
But he still needed Scotty to win it. He still needed.
Do you want to go over
Scotty.
the list of people LeBron had? Do you
Yeah,
really want to do
seriously.
that?
He
You
took
want us to
nobody. How did he take that finals team with people like
They got
Sasha
swept.
Pavlovich?
No, that team got
Who
swept. That
cares?
doesn't even matter. They
Who
got
gives a
swept
shit?
from it.
Dude,
Yeah.
When they won, that LeBron had Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis. Do we really need to keep going?
Right. He's had absolute Hall of Fame caliber players.
exactly.
Let's be real
What
here.
about the first finals appearance?
Well, who gives
They
a
got
shit? They
swept.
lost.
We
got-
didn't even come close in
The
a
fact
single
he
game.
took him there, Jordan could not do something like that with his no-name team. He
Jordan
could
took
not.
him there 6 times and he won all 6.
But
Exactly.
he took him with Scotty. Look,
Who cares?
Scotty,
We're still
listen,
telling you it's less
listen.
than LeBron had.
Scotty without Jordan won 50-plus games and almost took him to the finals.
But did
So
he?
what? So what?
The point I'm saying is he had another superstar.
You're
That's all
insane.
I'm just
We
saying.
need to end
He
this
had another
discussion.
superstar with him.
This
Wait,
He
is
was
an
also
awful
part of that
argument you're
75.
making.
Okay, wait, Brian. Let me just say this. Even though I didn't get to watch Jordan like you guys did, I still have Jordan as the GOAT. Because and it's weird.
I'm sticking with my hot take. LeBron number 1, Kareem number 2.
Oh, it's
No.
wrong.
You are wrong by 100 miles. at
Kareem,
least.
man, do you know how that guy was in the league so long?
Wilt was better than Kareem if you want to have that conversation.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah,
I'd put Wilt in front of Kareem.
No.
I think you have a valid argument there, Brian. For me, part of the championships are part of the reason why I have Jordan ahead. But Brian, I've also talked about this aspect, which I know it's not as important for you, but it's a big aspect for me. LeBron hasn't stayed with one team. Like he went Cavaliers, Heat, Cavaliers, Lakers, and then he'll probably
Cavaliers.
go to another team.
Cavaliers, yeah.
When we think of Michael Jordan, we automatically think of him in a Chicago Bulls jersey. I
I don't know. He was a dog with them Washington Wizards.
How about when he lived in the
Kwame
Birmingham
Brown.
Barons? Come on, baseball.
Kwame Brown and Jerry Stackhouse and Rip Hamilton. I
Mm.
remember
And-
that.
Anyway, my point is like
Tyronn Lue.
so.
Tyronn Lue was on the team.
He
You
was.
get my overall point though. So
But I mean, when people talk about LeBron, everyone's gonna think of him in a Cavs uniform. Okay. When we're 20 years down the road and people are going to be posting pictures of LeBron, it's going to be LeBron in a Cavs uniform.
Which stint?
Doesn't matter. It's going to be a Cavs uniform.
yeah, that's
Either
true.
one.
The stint that he went to a championship with nobody.
No.
And got swept.
And got swept in the
Yeah,
finals. Yep.
that retort is just perfect. Every time you bring it up, we're just going to say and
Yeah.
got swept. That's
Right.
just what's going to happen now.
Kirk, you know how many
Exactly.
times Jordan lost in the finals?
With Scotty.
Never mind. Moving on.
Who gives a shit? Okay, about with Scotty.
Why?
You gotta
why
bring that
are-
up every time you bring up Jordan
Kirk,
winning the
why
finals.
are you
He needed
trying to-
help. He needed
We just
help.
gave you a list
Hey,
of
newsflash,
7 players. that are
everybody
better than
needs
Scottie
help.
Pippen.
Thank you.
Newsflash: everybody needs help.
And he lost to OJ Mayo in 1-on-1.
I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like every team needs help of some sort.
Yeah.
I mean,
There is no
sport.
mythical
It's not.
guy putting the entire team on his back and carrying them to a championship. It's not real.
This is not golf. It's not. You
Yeah.
can't do it yourself.
It
Nobody
doesn't
can.
work like that in
Nope.
basketball.
it's not. I mean, it's not like that with any sport, really. Like,
That's what makes Jordan's run more impressive, too. You know,
bingo.
0 losses. That's your
0.
answer. He never lost in the finals. Like,
Right.
Not only is it one of the hardest things to do for an athlete because it is a team sport and you can't do it alone, but to get there 6 times and win all 6, like that's incredible.
Exactly.
And the last time when his GM was actively trying to destroy the team along the way.
Mm-hmm. And also, he won a couple after he left to have a cup of tea with the Chicago White Sox minor league organization too. So
you can put they still needed Pippen in the private chat, Churk, but we don't give a shit.
Right.
Oh my God, Churk.
The wheels have come off.
Yeah, seriously.
Hour 2 has came way early.
Yeah.
It came way too early. We're not even into the next segment of this show, thanks to this. Thanks to this derail from Churk here.
Yeah, this is an all-timer from you, Churk.
And Churk just wrote, "Oh my God,
Cartwright. Was Cartwright even on the team?"
Churk,
Remember that shot?
Churk, why'd you bring this up in the first place? That's what I really want to know."
I'm just saying it's not just him. He
Anyway.
Rodman.
Well, there are 5 guys that are, on the court at the same time. So, when the next guy wins a title 1-on-5, he'll be the first.
Yeah, I'd be the first ever.
Yep.
You think Jordan could do it?
Jordan would be the closest.
He'd be the closest, but no, nobody can do it.
Absolutely not.
LeBron could do it.
No, nobody can do it.
No, nobody can do it, dude. Sorry, but even with think about the Lakers for a second.
So you don't think Bill Cartwright deserved that finals?
Wait, what?
How old was he when he was playing? He was in his 15th year in the league in the last year that he won a title.
Unbelievable.
He wasn't necessarily a key aspect of their team. He was not a key person on their roster.
Or Judd Butler?
I feel like I'm
bringing up Judd Butler right now.
Him today.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm actively losing brain cells.
I'm with you, Bryan. I'm with you.
Jesus, man. Are you going to bring up Luke Longley next? Come on.
How about BJ Armstrong?
Okay, enough. Enough. Can we move on to the next segment before my brain goes completely dead?
Fine. All right. Next segment. JJ Redick completely eviscerates Zion Williamson.
Yeah. How about this?
I saw this
You
video
make fun
on
of him for his
first.
weight.
Anyway, I saw this video on First Take, which I'm surprised you guys are bringing this up because you guys clown First Take so
Because
much.
First Take is trash, but this is still notable.
Anyway, yeah, I saw this and I'm just like, well then. Yeah, that shows how much the Pelicans are cared for, which is not at all.
They got CJ.
Pelicans.
Yeah.
They got CJ.
They do have CJ now.
And CJ McCollum's going to want out as soon as his contract's up. He ain't re-signing there.
Right. And guess what? CJ has not reached out to talk to Zion, and Zion has not reached, or I think
they have since talked since that report came out.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They have since talked, but it was like 2 weeks or so. But I mean, let's look at Zion. I mean, what were the criticisms of Zion coming out?
His weight.
His weight, his work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
What did JJ Redick literally harp on?
Both.
I think his work ethic's not bad. I think it's the weight more so.
And then the other thing
Why do you think he's so heavy, Churk? Because he's got a poor work ethic.
Yeah.
And how did he make the All-Star game last year?
Oh,
who gives a shit?
Anyway. Okay. Anyway. Stephen A. Smith on First Take. I'm just gonna mention this part.
Go for it.
He was basically saying that Zion did not want to go to New Orleans in the first place. He did not want the Pelicans to get the number 1 overall pick. He wanted the New York Knicks to get the number 1 overall pick. So
I think everybody did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it wasn't rigged for them, to be honest with you. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time they rigged the draft for the Knicks.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, who would really want to go to New Orleans for basketball?
I think I know what Zion.
At the same time, you have to have these smaller franchises be in a position to draft marquee players.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
This led to a lot of we need to get rid of the NBA draft talk. Okay, and that's so dumb. It is so incredibly dumb. It's the worst conversation of all of sports. People would say banish the draft. It should just be higher salary or whatever and just free range.
Yeah,
I saw someone try to bring up like European soccer as an example of teams not having a draft. The Premier League is controlled by 6 teams. Okay,
right. Exactly.
And it's if you have money, you just spend. Okay.
Yep.
If people are tired of the same teams getting to the finals over and over again, why not?
We'll
watch European soccer, okay? Because it's the same teams every year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
I think to Zion, I think he's trying to pull a Charles Barkley, eating his way out. Or
eat his way out.
I mean, that's what James Harden did.
Yeah, that's what James Harden did.
His way out of Houston.
I think that's what Zion's trying to do deep down.
But I mean, Zion, he's a very, very good player. But the questions about his work ethic are always going to be there until he does something about it. And until he's not like, okay, this guy looks very overweight while playing basketball. Because
I think it's just the camera angles, don't you?
It's not the camera angles.
It is not. What
had to?
He is a very big dude.
Okay.
Yeah, he's massive.
So you know how like when James Harden forced his way out of Houston and got to Brooklyn, he was suddenly like suddenly better and he was able to play basketball again. I think the same thing is happening with Zion, where the minute he gets out of New Orleans and goes to New York or Chicago, wherever, if he ends up in a marquee city, I'll just say it like that, it's gonna be like, wait, what weight issues? Like,
and then he like
it's time to lose
down
weight,
by
though.
like 30 pounds as soon as he enters.
He's gonna have to lose weight first, though.
Within a
it
month,
takes time to lose weight. He's gonna have to lose the weight before he starts playing again.
His injury habits are. I mean, he could have very poor eating habits for all we know.
Right.
I mean, and generally for a professional athlete to be that big and play the sport that he does, basketball, he probably has terrible eating habits.
Yeah.
Let's be real here.
What do you think his diet is?
What was that?
What do you think his diet is?
I have no idea, but I'll tell you this. You look at someone like Ocho Cinco, who does nothing but eat McDonald's and is shredded.
Yeah, it's because he works harder than everybody else. And it's genetic in a way.
There's genetics involved.
Yeah.
100%. But you have to imagine his diet's not good.
Right.
And a lot of times it's not. A lot of times college athletes have terrible diets, and that carries over to their professional lives unless the team helps them.
I think it's possible he could have an okay diet and might just be gaining weight because he's not working out that much. That could be possible.
Either way, it's bad.
Yeah, whatever the explanation is, it's not good.
Yeah, he can't stay healthy, number one. So if he's not healthy and he's gaining weight, he's putting himself in a worse position moving forward, and he's just going to get hurt again. And it's also showing that he doesn't care. He's not working, to get
right
better.
there.
You say he's a meme right now?
What?
He's just a meme right now?
Who the fuck cares about Zion? He ain't playing.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be relevant to be a meme. And right now, he's not relevant.
Yeah, they wanted to make him the face of the NBA, and he just doesn't care. That's what I see anyway. I think he's got a massive ceiling. I think he's just incredibly talented. Mm-hmm. But what I see is a guy who's kind of got Johnny Manziel syndrome a little bit. Like he knows how good he is, and he doesn't care enough to like he can get away with being undisciplined. And that's what he's going to do for his entire career is what it feels like for me.
I didn't even think
you know what he still has, though? That can never be taken away?
What?
An all-star.
Who cares?
Anyway, Bryan, I actually didn't even think about it like that until you just brought it up. But now when I heard you say it, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you on it. I want to see if this continues, I'll be more in agreement with you. But I get where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all he has to do is just get healthy, get in shape, and play.
Yeah.
He's done none of those things.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, watch. The minute he gets out of New Orleans and goes to, like, a Chicago or a New York or L.A., whatever, I think he'll suddenly be like, oh, now I'm going to start getting healthy. I'm going to create a better work ethic.
I mean, I don't know. James Harden was still pretty thick on the Nets when he was on Brooklyn. It's not
That's
like
true.
it's not
Here's
like
the
he got
problem is-
suddenly shredded. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Everywhere Zion goes, he's got to take Zion with him. And if he doesn't have a work ethic down there in New Orleans, he might not have a work ethic when he gets to somewhere he likes better, is the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
And the other thing is it takes time to get into playing shape, and it takes time to lose weight. And he's in neither. He needs to do both of those things.
What if he can lose weight quick? There's some people like that.
I mean, maybe, but
Sure, but
it's not going to happen overnight. It's a process, and he's not working towards.
It would probably take
better.
like a good 2-3 months.
Yeah, it's gonna take time, but losing weight quickly is not good for someone who's a professional athlete because it's gonna have detrimental impact on their ability to perform and just their muscles.
That's what happened to Kevin Love.
What?
He lost weight really fast.
His was different. His was not the same.
Man, I miss fat Kevin Love.
You miss fat Kevin Love. I tell you what, I prefer the 6th man of the year, Kevin Love.
I much prefer this Kevin Love over that.
That Kevin Love was the man.
Speaking of Kevin Love, speaking of the Cavs, LeBron might come home for another time.
He's coming home.
No.
Yep.
He said
No, I want this team to win without a superstar.
I got bad news for you, Churk. Teams that don't have superstars don't win shit.
The Pistons of 04.
That was the only championship team of all time to not have a single player in the NBA 75. You know that, right? That happened
and the 2017 Eagles.
That's not the same sport.
Sport completely. So
I mean, and that's also wrong. So, but that's besides the point. But let's look at the Cavs real quick. Possibility of LeBron coming back.
So here's my thing: if we bring in LeBron, does that mean we get rid of Lowry Markkanen?
Yes.
Who cares?
I didn't even need him.
No. I'm asking for. So the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with it because I don't.
With or without LeBron, we get rid of him.
No, I'm saying I don't like Lowry Markkanen because, if we're not using him, he just stands there as okay, what am I useful for? So
he does the things off the ball, the screens. That's what he's good for.
He played most of the season without Lowry Markkanen. Okay,
Right.
That's
He's been
what
hurt
I'm
for
saying.
so long. Okay, and by the way, just to take a quick little victory lap, I hated the signing when they made it because I thought it was terrible. It was terrible.
Yes,
When he plays, he's not very good. They're playing better without him.
I agree. That's why I'm saying
So if we can get rid of Lowry Markkanen, if we can send Colin Sexton their way and get rid of the corpse of Dylan Windler for LeBron James, do it.
Sign me up. Yep.
Yep, I'm in.
Do it. Send some draft picks their way too, and make it happen.
Yep, I'm in.
The fact that he said that door is open means that it's wide open. For him to even speak that way is very, very, very telling. Because LeBron's a guy that always has played things very close to the vest. And for him to even open that door, to me, it blew me away first because, I mean, I had to wonder with the success the Cavs were having and the struggles the Lakers were having, how he was feeling about it. But for him to openly just come out and be like, yup, kind of would love to be there. It just blew me away. It's incredible.
It's a very calculated move by his part. Then you look towards the All-Star team drafts. He drafts both Darius Garland and he gets Jared Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And when asked about trading Darius Garland to Durant's team, he's like, no, he's untouchable.
Yeah.
And then we get this comment and this possible development of him possibly coming back to Cleveland again. I'm like, it seems like it's going to happen.
Yeah. Feels like it.
I feel like when it was announced Jared Allen was being added to the All-Star to LeBron's team, I'm like, LeBron had to have been involved in that at least a little bit because, he probably wanted to see, how do I play with the two of them?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I thought it was very telling that he chose both of them to be on his team.
Yeah. I think it was also interesting going back to the All-Star game for just a sec that in the fourth quarter, it was Jared Allen in the game. It wasn't the reigning MVP Nikola Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying there's any type of story there because I don't think there is, but I just think that's an interesting aspect.
That is an interesting point.
How do you feel about these big men now winning the title?
Of what?
The 3-point?
Well, it's happened twice now, ever, so it's not
Yeah.
really a trend.
Yeah, but
Kevin Love was the other one.
Yeah.
anyway,
You asked that question like it just happened like 18 times in a row or something.
right. Like, I just wrote an article about this for Fansided on the King James Gospel page.
Shout
Right.
out.
Yes.
Fan-sided.
Yes. The Cavs have passed a majority of their tests up to this point, I would say. Some of them they've squandered, like the 3-game road trip to close out the first half of the schedule, going 1-2 on that. But I think they have one last test, and that's the month of March, because they only play the only non-playoff teams they play against in March, if I remember correctly, are
Detroit and Orlando.
Detroit and Orlando. Yep.
I think we talked about this last week. So last week or 2 weeks
Fresh on our
ago.
mind.
Yeah.
You know what else the King's Gospel says?
Oh yeah. What?
It says Lowry Markkanen's return for the Cavs will put less pressure on Love and Chetty Osman. Cavs Lowry Markkanen is making progress, turning a corner pre-injury.
You want to quote whoever you're reading from right now?
It
The King's
wasn't me.
Gospel.
Was it from Josh's article?
Yes.
No.
Josh,
I-
you don't even know your own writing. Oh no!
No, I never wrote that. I know my own writing. I never
No, but they're
wrote that.
saying stuff like this. I don't know
No.
if it's trustworthy.
Okay, pull up the article right now. I'm putting you on the spot, Churk. Pull up the article right now.
All right, let me.
While he's doing that, speaking of Lowry Markkanen, he might come back. He might not come back. I really don't care. If that means less Chetty Osman, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think Chetty Osman's just not not good.
He's
You
a
don't
meme.
think he's good?
No, I don't think Chetty Osman's good at all.
Yeah, he's a meme player. Like, it's fun when he has a good game, and it's like, you know, the
Yep.
first Jedi and all that stuff.
Right.
Like, it's cute, it's fun, but like, no, he's not a good player.
No, he has like those moments where he'll have like a game where he goes like 5 of 8 for 3 and like leads the bench in scoring, but
Yeah.
he'll have, you know, tons of other games where he goes like 3 for 16 from the floor, and it's just so frustrating. It's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, Cleveland fans just do this all the time, though. They always want to hitch their wagons to these guys that are just subpar players and that are just like meme players. I don't know how else to describe it.
And Chetty's just the Rashard Higgins of the Cavs. Okay,
Yes, yeah, that's a very good analogy.
that's what he is.
Yep, I agree.
Churk,
with
That is
100%.
not my article.
The same site that you got your article from.
It's not the same thing. Anyways, real quick. If LeBron does come back to the Cavs, it's probably going to be short-lived because he said he's going to go wherever Bronny gets drafted from.
Right.
Agree.
So it could be a 1-year stint looking for a title in Cleveland again before he goes and plays wherever Bronny gets drafted.
Well, Bronny's still at least 2 years out. At least 2, and that's if they change the rule to not having to spend 1 year out before they can get drafted straight to the NBA. So if let's say he finishes this year with the Lakers, that would give him 2 years with Cleveland.
That's if they trade, unless he gets traded somewhere else or finishes out his contract with the Lakers.
Right.
He would only have a 1-year window if he ends up signing as a free agent.
Is
The other
Bronny
thing he
looking
could
good
do
in the
is-
draft right now.
He'll be in the draft in a couple years, but I forget what I was going to say now.
Ronnie wasn't even one of the top recruits. He was like, last I checked, like 34th in the country. So like,
He's a second rounder projected, but like a team will definitely take him in the first
I
round.
guess it's going to be a top 10 pick now.
Yeah,
It's gonna be Bronny.
because he gets LeBron. They know that if they draft Bronny, they get LeBron with them.
right.
So, you know,
That
he-
ups his stock automatically, doesn't it? No matter how bad he is.
That also begs the question: is LeBron gonna, retire soon? Like, I could see him retiring, and then that's how he ends up being able to go wherever Bronny is. So,
Right.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting the path he chooses to finish out his career from here until the time Bronny's drafted. There's a lot of different things that can happen in the next 2 years.
Yeah. I don't like that LeBron came out and said this at all the part about wanting to go wherever Bronny is, I think it puts like Bronny already has a lot of pressure on him because he's LeBron James' son and all that. I think by LeBron saying that he's going to go out wherever Bronny ends up going, I think that puts a little excessive amount of pressure on LeBron, on Bronny, if you will.
You know how much more money he made him by saying that? His son made millions by him saying that. Because if he would have been drafted without that, without that looming over it, he would have been a late second rounder or maybe even a free agent. Like at this point, we don't know.
Yeah.
So by him saying that, he guarantees he's going to be a top 10 pick. He's going to be paid as a lottery pick. So that did him a huge favor. And the other thing is I think that LeBron's realistic. I don't think he's going to play until he's 45. I think that he really wants to play 1 year with his son, and that's how he retires. Like, just play a year with my son. Want to be able to do that and then leave it to him from there, So I agree and I disagree because I don't think wherever he's drafted to, I don't think they're going to be in a position to win a title that year. I think it's going to be a fun experience. It's going to be a fun rookie year for him and an awesome experience for LeBron before he retires. And so then that's why I just kind of disagree with you. I don't think anybody's expecting him to win a title with LeBron.
Oh, I understand that, but I just think it puts an unnecessary amount of excessive pressure on an already pressure-packed situation.
Well, and I just hope they have a great time playing for the Pelicans in a couple of years. Okay.
That's what's going to happen.
Or playing for the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, one of those teams that are always perpetually in the lottery.
LeBron said he would retire if he had to play with them.
If he had to play with who?
Orlando.
When did he say that?
I don't know. There was some tweet that came out a long time.
Oh, okay. So you saw it in passing on the internet. So he definitely said it.
Right. Right. LeBron totally said it. 100%.
I don't think LeBron would ever say that about any team. I think he's smarter than that. He cares too much about his money and his image.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find that quote, Churk, and there's evidence to back it up, I'll throw you a huge bone on that one. But I don't think he ever said that.
So real quick, Cavs come back when? Thursday? Friday?
Thursday against Detroit.
Correct.
Okay. So, got to see how they come back after the break, regroup. They kind of were very underwhelming going into the All-Star break. I did see apparently Karis LeVert is going to continue coming off the bench, which I don't care for, but
yeah, that's silly.
That's to me either.
But
yeah, I think they're just trying to get Karis acclimated to the team.
Well, Bickerstaff was asked if he's going to be in the starting lineup, and he said no. So
why?
I don't know. I don't have that answer.
Yeah,
he wants Chetty.
I wasn't at the media session.
He puts his trust in Chetty.
Chetty's not in the starting lineup. I don't know what they're doing. It's probably going to be more Isaac Okoro in the starting lineup, to be honest with you. Hey, I'm not the one making decisions. Okay, there was a time where I was, but that's not right now.
And if you were to make the decisions, wouldn't you trade Colin Sexton already?
I would have traded him already. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what we're waiting for with him.
It sounds like he's since walked back his earlier statement about coming back to the playoffs, though.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know what he's going to do anyways, if he even came back. But we're about at hour 2, which means we're going to start hour 2 off with the big college basketball fiasco from the weekend.
Something happened?
Something happened.
Oh,
Juwan Howard.
Oh, yeah, I did hear about that.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Is he in trouble?
He's not quite a bit of trouble for the rest of the game, or the rest of the season, which was, I think it's 5 games, so not really a whole bunch, but suspended for just the rest of the season.
Very fortunate.
Yeah, he's very fortunate that he didn't get to bounce for any tournaments either.
I agree. They're already on the bubble, so they're not going to win this tournament. But regardless, though, only a 5-game suspension when this is the second time in a month that he's come toe to toe with another head coach. not very good. But yeah, when Coach Howard becomes untethered, his rage knows no bounds, and it appears as that's what happened.
That was what he was like in college too,
Completely
right?
untethered, and his rage knew no bounds, and he started throwing a couple hands. So he got a light suspension. You ask me, I say he should have been fired. I think they should have locked him up for good. Life in prison minimum. So,
This is
don't
coming
blame
from a
me.
Michigan
Don't blame
fan.
me. All I'm saying is don't blame me for the light suspension. I would have locked him away and threw away the key. Inexcusable.
This is coming from a Michigan fan too.
Yep. Crazy, huh?
Interesting.
Yeah, but I'm glad he's still here.
I thought termination would have been.
Oh, I thought for sure he was going to go.
I thought termination was a little bit of an extreme.
Oh, you're being sarcastic.
I was being entirely sarcastic.
Yeah.
I don't think he should go to jail. No.
Yeah.
The rest of his life.
I mean, that's a coach that rides or dies for you. I'll give him that.
For sure.
I think if they would have fired him, that would have been a little extreme.
He came out on top in this situation with only a 5-game suspension.
Only a 5-game suspension. Very lucky with that. But I think the suspension's fine because it was an altercation with another coach. Now, if he touched a player, that'd be a completely different conversation.
True.
But it was he was only interfering and altercating with the coach.
I loved all the Buckeyes though that are young that don't know about what he hates. Who were like, you would never see one of our guys put his hands on another coach, and it's like, well,
but for me, the whole thing is just get rid of the damn handshake line. Like this, it's happened this type of thing has happened too many times, and it's just like, I don't see the point of it anymore. Like, the players just went at it for two halves or 4 quarters, whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe it was a really intense game that went right down to the wire and stuff. You really think they're going to want to get in line and say to their opponent who they might have just lost to, good game? No.
Yeah, there's some animosity there, and I mean, he certainly was provoked in a way, somebody put his hands on him. You don't put your hands on another person. And Josh, I see your point. The handshake line sets up those opportunities for people to have these spats. So, but it seemed like Coach Howard, all he wanted to do was just walk through that line and just end that game. He just got beat. He wasn't happy with, he wasn't happy with how the opposing coach ended out the game. But he was trying to do the right thing by keeping his mouth shut and just moving through that line. And unfortunately, like I said, this isn't the first time this month that it has happened, in a month's time that it has happened. So he's a guy that when he gets tested, he's going to, stand up for himself. Unfortunately, this time he went too far and his apology fell way flat. He's since apologized again for his crappy apology, basically. But no, I think that we got really lucky. I'm glad they didn't fire him. I think that would have been a little too severe. I agree with James. I thought that some kind of tournament suspension may have been possible. I'm glad that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. In terms of this season, this team's not good. They're not ready to win. So I really don't care if they make it this year or not. But if they have a good run in these last few games and do make it, it's going to be awesome to have Coach Howard there. So. Yeah, I think as a Michigan fan, it just ended as perfect as it possibly could have.
Late game timeouts in Michigan basketball, forever a very, very complicated thing.
Yeah, a lot of young Michigan fans that don't know about that one, James. Yeah, timeouts are definitely a sensitive subject when it comes to Juwan Howard and that Michigan team. So, yeah, that late timeout, he definitely felt some type of way about it.
Yeah. Yep, he definitely did.
Yeah, but I do want to say this too, though. I think I think that's his last strike. He's on the thinnest of ice right now.
100%.
If he ever gets involved in a physical altercation again, he's done coaching. Period.
Oh yeah.
So he's got to play it. If he does have an anger issue, because I don't know the man personally. Like I said, I think he's probably a good guy, but I don't know. He could be a scumbag. Mm-hmm. So. I hope that if he does have an anger issue, that they make him take some kind of anger management or something, because somebody's going to get hurt if he really does. Mm-hmm. It's a serious issue. You just can't have that in Big Ten basketball on that big of a stage on national television like it was. You can't have that type of behavior. It's kind of inexcusable, and yeah, I'm glad that he got off with a light suspension, but that's because I'm a Michigan fan and he's my guy. From an outsider's point looking in, there's some good arguments to be made that it should have been a lot stiffer of a penalty.
Right. Even though I'm not a Michigan basketball fan, this one still bothered me a little bit because in terms of just purely basketball, I would say Big Ten is one of the bigger one of the stronger conferences when it comes to college basketball. I'm not looking at the other sports because you can make an argument for various other sports and various other conferences, whatever.
They're a Power 5 team in every sport. So
yes.
They're a Power 5 conference. So
correct. So we'll just stick with that.
Yeah, one of the best 5 conferences in sport, sure.
Yeah, so it's a black eye on the Big Ten, I would say. I'll say it like that to keep it simple.
And the Big Ten has a history of coaches with hotheads too. You know, there's another guy who I think it was like 37 years ago to the day threw a chair across the court. I just saw that. I don't know if it was to yesterday or if it was today, but that was like 36 or 37 years ago to the day.
Bobby Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not a good look for the Big Ten as a whole, Josh. You're 100% right about that. And that's another reason I was kind of expecting maybe a stiffer penalty is because, you know, with the history of hot-headed coaches, and you would think it might have happened. But, yeah, you're right. That's a good point, Josh.
And also it's like it seems like Michigan and Wisconsin have a bit of a rivalry when it comes to college basketball. So at least from when I watch the games, that's how I look at it. So I'm not totally surprised that something like this happened when the two teams were playing each other, but it's still a bad look overall.
I mean, Wisconsin's usually a pretty consistent basketball program. It's very, very similar to their football team. They really don't have really lows or really high highs. They're just kind of consistently good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They're never going to win, but they're never going to be like the worst team in the conference.
Yeah, I
or
agree.
one of the worst teams. They're just consistently just right at that above average good spot for a team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I was being so sarcastic at the beginning, Churk, because I thought he got off way easy. That's why I said lock him up, throw away the key. That's what.
Yeah.
But anyway,
channeling a little big cat with Aaron Rodgers there.
It was pretty much the same playbook there. It was get out ahead of the story by saying, you know, very severe consequences should be had.
Yeah, that was quite good. I'll give you credit for that.
But I want to say one thing before we move on. A lot of people pissed off, a lot of Michigan fans pissed off that the Wisconsin coach who threw up an awesome crotch chop did not get any suspension. I am here to say you will never get a wag of the finger from me for a crotch chop.
That was hilarious.
The hat, sir. So tip of the hat for the crotch chop. There's never a wrong moment for a crotch chop. Mad respect to that Wisconsin coach, and I'm glad that he got away scot-free because that was pretty cool.
That was so good. It was so good.
Good.
It was the highlight of the entire thing.
It really was. I had so many friends that were like, I can't believe this guy didn't get a single blah, 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 blah. I'm like, come on, dude. That was great. So that's the last thing I'll say about it.
All right. Moving on. Baseball still locked out.
Shocking.
Bad, huh?
No.
So, James, if I'm not mistaken, they have moved to at least meeting daily, correct?
They are meeting daily. They're currently taking a break. They met for like an hour and a half before they decided to just take a break right now. But they're not anywhere fucking close. They're not.
And to me, it sounds like these meetings, like even though they're happening in the same building, aren't even happening in the same room all the time.
No, like the two sides yesterday, they were in the same building for like 3 hours, but like their face-to-face meeting was like for 10 minutes.
Right, okay. Which is still just incredible.
And then there was a clip of Max Scherzer outside in the parking lot afterwards yesterday where he looked very like heated and fired up, like not very happy with how everything's going. It's like he's one of the people that's representing the players, and you're seeing this reaction afterwards.
Not good.
That's not good.
No.
And, you know, every single time you see the two sides, like, basically trading offers that you know that no one's going to take.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're essentially doing the equivalent of the guy in, like, your fantasy football league, which offers you a whole bunch of shit for, like, your best player.
Yes.
That's what's happening. I'm going to give you all of these guys who were hurt for Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and they gave themselves this February 28th deadline and said that, if we can't meet to terms by then, the season's not going to start on time. I think we can pretty much guarantee that the season's not starting on time now.
Oh, absolutely.
We knew that for a while. A lot of people knew it was going to kind of go that way. But for the people who have kind of been on the fence and hoping that it could be done by then, it's not going to be.
It's not going.
I hate to say that too, because I really could not wait for baseball to start this year.
I knew that this is exactly how this was going to play out. Just seeing how everything has gone from the negotiations from the last time they had their discussions to when they had to have discussions for the 2020 season and how much of a clusterfuck that was. That was just a preview of what this was. If you go back to the 2020 negotiations, because those were really bad.
Yeah, this potential lockout situation has been in the tea leaves for a long time. Like, we kind of knew this was coming for years.
Ever since the last one, after the 2016 CBA, we knew that this was coming down the line. How bad the Players Association got screwed over in the last one. And so we're here now. The negotiations are going terribly, and it's not surprising.
So do you think there's actually a possibility we don't have a season at all?
And it's a possibility, but until now, it seems like baseball will be played as of this moment. But you always have to, at least acknowledge the possibility of there not being a season. Okay. And with this delayed start that we're inevitably going to have, with the shortened spring training that we're going to have, what you're also going to get, which we saw a ton of in 2020, is injuries. Okay. Because guys need the full 6 weeks to get ready. Right now, if they were to come to an agreement today, which isn't going to happen, but let's say they did, they would have 4 weeks before the season starts. That's not enough time.
No, it is.
We saw, I think, less than that in 2020, or it might have been 4 weeks in 2020. I'm not quite sure. Can't remember. But if they don't have the full time they usually have to get ready, guys get hurt a lot.
Right. And that diminishes the play on the field, which already is in a bad spot because baseball's so far behind. So
but we're looking at it now. The owners' side of the negotiation apparently asked for a third-party mediator, which the Players Association again rejected, and because they don't want any part of a mediator. The last time a mediator was involved, I believe, was back in the 80s, and the Players Association basically got screwed over in those negotiations. So the theory is that a mediator being involved leaving a bad taste in their mouth, so they don't want to even have any sort of involvement of one. But looking at what's happening now, one theory that's been floated out there is that even sides on the ownership side of things are not necessarily agreeing with how to handle this. So that was why they wanted a mediator involved, to try to get everyone on the same page on the ownership side.
Wow. So baseball's really in the shits.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea when the season's going to start. Okay.
The Guardians are going to win it.
They're not going to win dick. Okay.
You know what someone just also posted recently? A friend of mine. They said they took a picture with Baker Mayfield and said the new 2023 Super Bowl champs.
Okay,
what does that do with baseball?
Whoops.
Nothing.
I mean, the Guardians aren't going to win anything. I mean, let's be real here. They're not the best team in the division. And there's a real argument that the Guardians can finish in dead last in the AL Central this year. There's a real possibility that can happen.
I kind of hope we don't play this season for that reason.
I mean, the White Sox are still the best team in the division.
Yeah.
The Tigers went out and spent and got Javi Baez before the lockout happened. Remember that when that happened?
Yeah.
They were a much better team than people thought they were going to be last year. I thought the Tigers were going to be the surprise team of the division last year, so kudos to me. But you look at the Royals, they're another team that's still just always there. They play a very different brand of baseball that seems to always give everybody headaches.
Yes.
Because it's contact and speed, it's stolen bases, It's, Whit Merrifield and Adalberto Montesi being a complete nightmare on base paths.
Yep.
You
They're fun to watch. I love
even
them.
though Mondesi can't hit for shit, but he can steal bases like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
But the Twins completely bottomed out, and I thought that was going to happen because I thought they were the ultimate flash in the pan team back in, for a couple of years there. I just like, this isn't sustainable. This isn't real.
Right.
And it wasn't.
And guess what? When the Twins did make it to the playoffs, who did they run into? The Yankees. And the Yankees always seem to destroy them when they meet each other in the playoffs. It is hilarious.
But let's look at the Guardians. What are your real expectations of the Guardians this year?
The World Series, baby.
How many games, if we have a season, do you think they'll play?
100.
100.
The World Series.
Right now, 100.
Let's say 40 and 60 if we're lucky.
Yeah.
They don't have enough offense.
Yeah, 40 and 60, and I think that's just with some pitching that gets us there.
You don't think we can go to the World Series, guys?
No.
No, not even close.
I think this is the lockout or whatever, strike, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah.
Either way, it's come at a very good time for the Guardians because we are very much a team that is in limbo in terms of where do we go from here because we're not in position to win now.
They're
Do
not.
we have at least any cap space?
There isn't a salary cap in baseball. There's a luxury tax threshold.
Yeah.
Which we are probably about 170 million away from. So
we're never in danger of that.
We're never going to be in danger of that.
So that means we get somebody. Yeah.
Hey, look who's in the chat. Jim Davison.
Hello.
What's up, dude?
They don't spend money.
No, we don't spend money, and that's why we're never in danger of being in that conversation for the luxury tax, unfortunately. There's
still some arbitration salaries that have to be applied, so they're probably going to spend another 5 to 10 million or so on top of wherever they're sitting at currently. Because those negotiations were put on pause with the lockout.
And if they do have a season, however long it is, attendance is going to be dreadful for the Guardians. That the fun of it being a new rebrand will wear off after the first weekend.
Yeah.
First game.
Nobody's going to be going to any of the games. Like, it's going to be bad. And I don't see this being a good year for us at all. And I really hope that ownership finds it in them somewhere to want to spend more money and actually win a World Series. But that doesn't seem like we're that kind of team right now. So
right.
They're not. They're going to keep trying to explore the options of guys that we know that aren't good enough. Okay. They're going to keep forcing Bobby Bradley down our throats. They're going to keep giving too many at-bats to Yu Chang.
Yep.
And whatever they're doing in the outfield. You know what I mean?
He's our Teddy Osmond, Yu Chang.
It's the same caliber of player. It really is.
Yep.
And then right now our starting catcher, I think currently is Austin Hedges with a backup maybe being Sandy Leone.
Did Hedges even hit for 200 last year?
I don't know.
Being serious. I don't think he hit for 200.
He did.
What happened to Roberto Perez?
They let him go, and he ended up signing with somebody else. I don't remember who it was.
Oh, I did not know that, actually.
Yeah. I mean, baseball's been gone for so long. Austin Hedges hit 178.
Oh, my God. That's so bad.
The only reason they have him on the roster is because he's a good defensive catcher. He's good with the pitching staff. If he wasn't good with the
only position you can get away with. Yeah, it's the only position you can get away with hitting that bad, but that's worse than most. Yeah, like that's almost like I just don't know how you justify putting him in a major league lineup.
It'd be forgivable if he hit a ton of home runs. If he was like Mike Zunino, like a better Mike Zunino, you know what I mean?
Strikeout or hit or dinger, and that I could live with that.
He doesn't hit home runs either. His career high in home runs is 18 back in 2017. Okay, that was probably his best year. But he hit 214 that year.
Yeah.
His best career batting average season was 231 in 2018.
Yeah.
Every other year, he's hit below the Mendoza line.
So I just figured it out, by the way. Roberto Perez went from one bad team to an even worse team. He's with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh, yeah, because the Pirates get all of our leftovers. Shout out Lonnie Chiscall. And
shout out. Down there in Pittsburgh. There's not much of a baseball town down there.
And Aaron Gonzalez. That's another one that was there, too.
That sucks that Pittsburgh can't find their stuff because they have a beautiful ballpark.
It's my favorite. It's my personal favorite. I love PNC. It's so good.
I mean, but that's another ownership group that's never going to spend. And let me tell you something. I talked to a Pirates fan a couple years ago, and when everyone's complaining about the Indians Guardians ownership not spending money, he's like, I would love to have your owners because the Pirates don't spend at all. If you want the perspective of Pittsburgh baseball from a normal person, go look at Pat McAfee and how he talks about the Pirates.
Yeah.
Okay.
He nails it.
He kills them every chance he can.
Mm-hmm.
And
he doesn't do that with other Pittsburgh teams. He's very much a pro Steelers, pro Penguins guy.
And if you ever watch a Pirates broadcast, it's terrible. It is awful. Okay? When you get the chance.
Which one of you four are going to be Jimmy Donovan's sidekick next year since Doug has retired?
Let's get Churk in the booth up there with Jimmy D. I think that would make magic happen.
How do we make that happen? Do I need to apply?
I would send your app in now.
That would be hilarious.
Where can I find a link to that?
The internet is a good place to start. Google.
Yeah.
Google's a great place.
I don't think I'm going to get it.
Wait,
I don't think I'm likely going to get it, though.
James, I'm going to take a quote from you. Google is your friend.
Google is your friend, okay?
Think I could get
your best friend.
Think I could get it?
Oh, yeah, of course. You're sure.
100%.
If you get the interview, the job is yours.
100%.
You're joking, right?
Does it sound like I'm joking?
A little bit. There's a lot of competition, and they're probably looking for someone who's been in the radio for a lot of years. I'm just being realistic.
Oh. Dream big, though. I encourage all my friends to dream big.
Yeah.
Hey,
always dream big.
As the song goes, without actually singing, because I know James hates my singing for whatever reason, dream on.
It sucks.
Man, that combo would be nuts. That combo, Bryan, of me and Jim Donovan would be actually pretty funny.
I would love that combo, Churk. That's why I immediately pointed to you.
That would be.
Would I make radio games interesting again?
Oh, so much more fun because that's a sport that's hard to translate with radio too. Having your Churkisms and moments of like color commentary where you just name a random player from like 1,000 years ago, like it would be great.
Yeah, hey.
And distract the game and talk about everything but the game.
Yeah, but everybody in the crowd would be like, "Yo, did you guys see what Churk said out there?"
No, but I'm like the NBA on TNT for this shit.
You are, dude.
You know that's what they do a lot, right?
Yeah,
you drop it. Hey, remember Scooby Wright? Remember him?
Yeah.
Oh, Scooby. Scooby's an all-time good name.
Was Bill Walton like that too?
But speaking of the Browns, Jarvis Landry went on quite the tweet storm the other day.
Yes, he did.
Definitely took a shot at Baker in there, by the way.
Who wouldn't?
Saying that you never heard me complain about my injuries once, which true is 100% factual.
Yeah.
You didn't hear Jarvis Landry complain about his injuries at all. But
I'm not surprised by this.
You're not?
No, when I saw the success that his best friend started having in LA, I knew that this tweet storm was coming eventually. Mm-hmm. And OBJ winning the Super Bowl the way he did, being that valuable, it showed him like, hey, like if he can go out and do it, he thinks he's still good enough that he can make that kind of impact with the team. So that was for me. As soon as that happened, as soon as the clock struck 0 and the Rams were Super Bowl champs, I've just been kind of waiting for Landry to say something because I know he can't be happy. He can't be thrilled with the situation.
Oh, he's not.
So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he made it very clear that he's not.
It totally makes sense too, because like you said, as soon as Odell got away from Baker and got paired with a quarterback who's actually good and can throw the ball well, look what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you, Bryan, on what you said in the post Super Bowl show last week or whatever it was, that if he had stayed healthy, he probably would have won Super Bowl MVP. So, yeah, as soon as the clock struck 0, I'm like, yep, Jarvis is going to say something, but when's it coming? So I feel exactly the same way.
And, looking at his contract, his salary, he was already a likely cap casualty. Okay. But this was done to help motivate that, honestly, if you want my opinion. They're supposed to be meeting at the Combine a week from now or whenever the hell the Combine is. I hate the Combine.
I know.
But the two sides are supposed to meet then, which will probably negotiate his release from the team because his dead cap number is so low and his salary is supposed to be like $16 million. I think dead cap's, like $1 million. So they would only have to owe him $1 million for him not to play.
Right?
He's gone. He's going to be gone. And unless they have some, come to Jesus moment where they negotiate his contract to something else, which I don't think is going to happen. Dead cap of $1.5 million next year.
You don't think he's worth throwing that kind of money at too? Like the kind that he's going to be asking for?
Well, his salary for next year is supposed to be $16 million or something like that. Okay. Let me double check. I just X'd it out. His cap hit is next year is $16.379 million.
Wow.
Okay. And he's got the dead cap of $1.5 million. So from the Browns' perspective, from the way they operate, what do we know about the team? They're going to cut him, eat the $1.5 million, and move on.
Yep. That seems like the route that we're gonna go. So who's a realistic option for wide receiver number 1 for the Browns next year? Because I don't think DPJ's he's not.
Donovan Peoples-Jones, honestly, he's a 4th wide receiver. He's not good. Okay. And then you have a complete swing and miss pick with Anthony Schwartz. Okay. He can't track the ball. I'm sorry. He's not good enough. And Donovan Peoples-Jones isn't good enough either. And so what do we have at receiver? You got nobody. I don't know what you're going to do unless you make a trade for one of these guys that could be on the out, like a Calvin Ridley or a Mike Thomas.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. I like that. I like Ridley. Or going out and getting a guy like Godwin or something. They got to do something. But
Godwin's coming off an ACL tear, so I don't know what's going to happen there. I think he's probably going to sign a 1-year deal with Tampa or with somebody or get tagged, honestly.
Yeah.
But I don't know what Cleveland's answers are. Let me pose this question to you. Okay, if you're a free agent wide receiver, you have the pick of any team in the NFL to go to. Are you going to go to the team that has a quarterback that isn't very good and they deploy an offensive system that is not wide receiver friendly?
And just miss the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
No, you're not going to go to that team.
Nope. Not a chance.
There are obviously opportunities for wide receivers to get the ball, but they don't get them. Okay.
Right.
The offense really pretty much thrives off of tight ends, okay? And now we're in a world which, honestly, something that I said at the time of hire, when Kevin Stefanski was hired 2 years ago, is that the competitive advantage by hiring Kevin Stefanski is going to be incredibly short-lived because so many teams are going to employ a very similar offshoot, variation, derivative, whatever word you want to use, offense to what they run.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you have more teams pulling from the same pool of players, which makes them all now more expensive.
That's true.
And so what have we seen? We've seen an increase of teams hire coaches who run this offensive system.
Now, what? That's scary now. Now we can't use its uniqueness to win a game.
Well, they'll win games, but the advantage they had, part of the whole world of analytics and all that crap is finding the competitive advantage, finding the drops or the market. I can't think the gaps in the market, whatever the hell they say. Whatever they said in the Moneyball movie. Okay, is finding those gaps and finding those spots where people aren't being valued in a certain way and essentially exploiting that. Well, so many teams are doing what the Browns are doing now. The advantage they had doesn't exist anymore. It's gone.
It's a trend now as opposed to it being something that we were ahead of,
Mm-hmm.
So
it's now the norm.
Right.
Yeah. It's not that creative. It's not that original. It's, hey, the NFL is a copycat league. Like for example, when the Wildcat thing, like when teams saw that the Wildcat formation was working, they're like, okay, we're going to do the same thing. And now it's just, okay, pointless now.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Philly special, every team had a variation of that after it. Like,
kind of. The Dolphins just spammed the hell out of that formation is what they did. I mean, because to be honest with you, the Browns ran their flash package with Josh Cribbs before the Dolphins went Wildcat.
That's true. That's true.
So they ran the flash package with Josh Cribbs beforehand.
Who was it in Miami? Was it Ronnie Brown?
What was that?
Was it Ronnie Brown?
Oh, Ronnie Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the only reason the Dolphins did that is because Chad Pennington didn't have a strong enough arm.
Right.
And Chad Pennington, Baker Mayfield is the new Chad Pennington.
He's not, because Chad Pennington was better.
Than
but speaking of Baker Mayfield, the Pro Football Focus QB annual thing came out, and good Lord, Baker Mayfield did not come out well.
What is it?
Those grades, those chartings, everything that you knew it was going to happen, happened.
Every advanced analytic that can be charted, he's been charted in, and it's terrible.
It's bad.
And
it's
worse than we thought bad.
The problems with him, and this is something I said before the season, he's good at first read. If he has to make a second read, he's terrible. And that's exactly what these numbers show.
Right. And we have said that pretty much from the start of the season, and none of us have changed our opinion on that to this point. And we're not going to. I mean, before I knew Sam Darnold would turn into this, I suggested that the Browns should either draft him or Josh Allen number 1 overall. I did not want Baker Mayfield.
I didn't either.
Because here's my problem is, like, these quarterbacks like Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, various others, they have success at Oklahoma because, A, it's the Big 12, and the Big 12 is like the no defense conference.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2, Oklahoma is just, hey, let's hike the ball and throw it like 100 times a game. Okay, I'm over-exaggerating a little bit, but you still get my point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kyler's not that bad in the NFL.
I'm just saying, my overall point, though, is like, in that type of system, you're going to look better than you really are. Like, I think part of the reason the Browns took Baker Mayfield is because Dorsey knew his ass was on the line. So he felt like he needed to take the guy that was most pro ready. And for some reason, he thought it was Baker Mayfield. I don't know.
Because he was
Baker
older.
Mayfield probably was the most pro ready of those quarterbacks, but that just shows you the flaw in that line of thinking. If you remember back to 2010, around then, when the Browns drafted the most pro-ready wide receiver in Bryan Robisky, and how much of a flop that was.
Whoa,
okay.
Yeah.
Or in the next year's draft, the pro-ready quarterback Sam Darnold.
I mean, pro-ready just that's
I
what
think
that really means. What pro-ready means is high floor, very low ceiling. Is all that means.
Yeah,
is what that means. And
like you have spurts, right?
There were some graphs that came out of the QB annual thing from Pro Football Focus. I'm just going to show them up to my camera here. So this is passes thrown to tightly covered versus open targets. Okay, can you even see this?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Baker Mayfield's up towards that top right corner. That's a high percentage of tightly thrown tight windows. Patrick Mahomes is all the way down by himself saying he throws to open targets all the time.
Yeah.
Some of that's a function of the offense.
Sure.
Some of that's just because Patrick Mahomes knows actually how to read post snap.
Also true.
This is another one. This is quarterbacks most effective in versus out of structure. Can you take a guess at where Baker Mayfield is?
Bottom.
Oof.
Down towards the bottom. Not surprising.
On an island on his own, almost.
And the one where he is by himself is avoiding pressure. Baker Mayfield, this is the tweet I shared with you. Baker Mayfield's all the way at the top.
Yeah.
That very faint dot. But that's what it is. He's just not good. He invites pressure is the tweet I shared with you.
Yeah.
He holds the ball too long. He has very poor pocket awareness. He crumbles.
Yeah, when I was saying like every advanced analytic that there is that you can study on Baker, he's bad in, like I meant it. Like and that just goes to show like there are multiple different ways of looking at a quarterback and their performance. And a lot of times, sometimes analytics, you can create a narrative with them and find things to talk about. And with Baker, you can't. There is nothing in the statistics in any department that you can argue for this guy. He's just bad. He's not an NFL quarterback.
He should not have been the number 1 overall pick. Simple as that.
Regardless, he's not good enough to be a starter in this league.
No, he's not.
I think he's good enough to be a starter. I just don't think he's that.
He's not good enough to be a starter. If he's your starter, you have problems. The Browns have problems. Okay.
And how did he get a good touchdown to interception ratio?
Who cares? What did I just show you?
That shows
what
you.
What did I just show you?
He throws more touchdowns than interceptions.
Okay, so does everybody else in the league.
Cares.
Churk, I think
that's a given for an NFL quarterback. You throw more touchdowns than interceptions.
I mean, I showed. Did I show you guys the tweet comparing Carson Wentz's season this year to Baker Mayfield's season last year?
Yes.
Carson Wentz was torn apart for how poorly he played this year, but his numbers nearly identical to Baker Mayfield in 2020.
Yeah, I believe it was the same exact yardage.
It was the same yardage. It was nearly identical touchdown interception ratios, and he was destroyed for how he played this year.
And we deified Baker for that season and said that it was the best season that we've seen, and it's anomalous is what we're finding out. That season was an anomaly, and pretty much everything every narrative they tried to write about that team and us being a Super Bowl ready team, it just was wrong.
Yeah.
And he had 20. Yeah, he did have identical numbers: 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
I mean,
and that's 90, his best year. That's the 95, best from Baker.
95 passer rating.
That's the best Baker Mayfield will ever play.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the cap. And here's the thing: is that it still wasn't good enough.
No.
That's the thing. It still wasn't good enough.
Right. They beat a bad Pittsburgh team, and that's it.
He's still one of the worst quarterbacks in the league in the fourth quarter over his entire career.
Right. The only reason we kept it close with Kansas City in that playoff game is because Patrick Mahomes got injured. So
because of Baker.
No.
If Patrick Mahomes doesn't get hurt, we lose by 30 in that game. You can't.
Exactly.
Easy.
I mean,
and what would happen in that next game?
Against next game? They would have lost. The Browns wouldn't have been in the next game.
Yeah, if the Browns had somehow beaten the Chiefs, the Bills would have killed them.
Those would have destroyed them. But let's look at the reality here. You have a quarterback who the book was out on him after 2018. Keep him in the pocket, he's ineffective. Okay. The Browns found that out in 2019 in the worst way possible because he cratered.
Yep.
2020 showed a way to get around it with rollouts. Gets him out of the pocket. He's better outside the pocket. What did teams do this year? They took away the rollouts, which forced him to be a pocket quarterback.
Right.
It's terrible.
Yep.
He's too short. He doesn't get off his first read. He doesn't throw to checkdowns.
The book's out on Baker. Everybody knows all of these things about him too. That's the other thing is that every one of these weaknesses teams know, and they game plan around him and his lack of ability. So
yeah, if we know, they know. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And here's the other problem is this season, he had the torn labrum and he had various injuries, and people tried to let him use that as an excuse. No, I'm not letting Baker use that as an excuse. We have seen erratic play from you. He is consistently inconsistent. 2018 comes in, has a good season. 2019, like you said, totally cratered. 2020 has arguably the best season of his career. Or it wasn't arguably, it was the best season of his career. Yeah. And then 2021, he comes back down to earth. He is erratic, consistently inconsistent. Sorry, you can't use the injury as an excuse. This is who you are, Baker.
And to add on to it, I mean, his trends and his numbers, even if you take 2021 out of it, he's still terrible in the fourth quarter. Okay.
Bingo.
I mean, that's a fact. Okay.
The most important quarter for a quarterback is the fourth quarter, like when your team needs you the most.
He's awful in it. I think he charted in around 40th quarterback rank in the fourth quarter, which is obviously beyond the 32 starters.
Yeah, and postseason football in today's NFL too. Like these games are coming down to 2-minute drives every game. Like
We saw how important it was during the postseason.
You got to have a guy who can get your team down the field and score in a 2-minute situation. If you don't have it, you're never going to win a Super Bowl. Fine.
Right. Look, there are multiple examples throughout this past regular season that we could look at. The Kansas City game in week 1, Chargers week 5 or week 4, whatever it was, Pittsburgh, the first Baltimore games. I'm sure I'm missing a couple others, but
you are. But the point remains. I mean, this is the first year he did not have a single fourth quarter comeback in his career.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The ball was in his hands multiple times throughout the season where it was like, okay, Baker Mayfield, you're in position to lead this team down the field and get us a victory.
He can't. He's not good enough. He's not good enough.
Exactly. He failed every single fucking time.
Yeah.
He's just, I mean, you're stuck. To quote Dwight Schrute from The Office, they've hitched their horse to a wagon with no legs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is.
That's
Continue
exactly
to play
what they've
Baker
done.
Mayfield at quarterback.
Yep.
What about in 2020?
Who cares?
He had two legs that season.
Guess what? That season was an anomaly. We just established that, Churk.
And what about his rookie season?
Again.
Here's the fact of the matter, okay, when it comes to Baker, is the 2 years that he's been good, okay, he was terrible in the first half both years. It was
Bingo.
second half runs that improved his numbers.
Oh, he was good at the fourth quarter.
When?
Has he
Never.
ever?
No.
No. Not
What is
once.
he like during the fourth? How would you describe Baker in the fourth quarter?
Awful.
Terrible.
Like, what does he do?
Loses.
He
Yep.
loses. He loses. He throws picks. He turns the ball over. He gets sacked. He doesn't complete passes. I mean, everything you don't want your quarterback to do, Baker Mayfield does in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
But he'll hand it off sometimes to make sure he doesn't lose.
He loses a lot in the
More
fourth
than he
quarter.
wins, and that's a problem
Why do we have him as quarterback?
because
Do you
And why
want-
are people still fans of him?
because
Because
people are
he's got
dumb.
an
Most
attitude and a
people are
chip on
dumb.
his
I got
shoulder.
news for you, Churk. 9 out of 10 people are dumb. If you think Baker is a good NFL quarterback, I'm sorry, you're dumb. You don't.
It's because he's got an attitude. He's got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to have
He's
snappy
a blue
comments.
collar guy.
He gets us.
Yeah,
He-
Look, he said his commercials are funny,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only good part of him.
but everyone,
it's-
Browns fan gets mad when he does a commercial and loses a game. It's just like a
That doesn't bother me. I mean, get your bread. If you're a good actor and you're funny on camera, then make your money. Like, go ahead. But the problem is that he's a better actor than he is a quarterback.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I mean,
I-
Hugh Jackson made Mr. Hero commercials, and I was pissed.
Okay, anyway, to steal
That's a real quote. Hold on. Before we move on, that's a real quote. But Hugh Jackson did those Mr. Hero commercials, and I was pissed.
Thank you.
Just wanted that to be. I want that quote to live on forever.
Hey,
was.
we got it in recording. This will be posted on the So What's the Catch YouTube channel. This will be posted on the Unger to the Max YouTube channel. So that quote will live on forever. You're welcome, world. You're welcome.
Yes. Wow.
I didn't
Anyway.
realize I could do that. I had that in me.
That's just brilliant analysis.
Anyway, Baker Mayfield made more commercials than he threw touchdowns. That pretty much tells me all I need to know.
I don't know if that's an official stat.
It's not.
I
And
think
it's an
I
incorrect
think
one too,
some
but
way
it's
to sound
funny.
But
But-
it is funny. It's funny nonetheless.
Yeah, it is
Okay,
funny.
it's
My point is Baker's so bad you don't need to exaggerate. You don't need to be.
That's the reality.
You don't need to be hyperbolic. You don't need to make it bigger than it is. He's so bad that the numbers just tell the entire story. He stinks. And
All
like the consistently inconsistent thing, like that's just another way of saying that someone's bad.
Yep.
yeah.
he's bad. He's a bad quarterback, and I'm tired of talking about it. And it's like I don't know. It's hard to be a Browns fan right now because until they move on from him, like we know we're never going to be anything special.
They're not going to do anything. As long as if they don't address the quarterback situation, you could say goodbye to Stefanski, Andrew Berry, and Captain Moneyball living out in California who doesn't actually come to Berea to work. Okay?
Yeah,
Mr. Paul DePodesta. You can say goodbye to all of them. But you know what? Honestly, I don't care. Get rid of them. As long as Paul DePodesta is involved, I think they're destined to fail. Okay.
Why was he so hyped?
Because he did the Moneyball thing, okay? Right. Then we had the clip of Jonah Hill in the Moneyball movie going, yes.
And what about people saying he turned this team around? He took them to the playoffs.
Well, Bethesda didn't do dick.
No.
What?
He didn't do jack shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a job, okay? You listen to him talk. My first thought is the clip from Office Space when the guy's just like, so what is it that you do here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
very much. He's Creed Bratton. Like it's like he has no job title. Nobody knows what he does, and he really doesn't know what he does either.
I mean, honestly, I don't think Kevin Stefanski is as good as everyone thought he was. Okay, I don't think Andrew Berry is a good GM at all either. Okay, I think he's made countless mistakes, and they've all compounded to what is going to be a disastrous season coming up. I think next year is going to be a complete and catastrophic failure.
That 11-5 season is like the worst thing that could have happened to this team.
It is. And honestly, it's the worst thing for Browns discourse on the internet because that's what everyone goes back to. They went 11-5.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, this worked. It's like that was such just not real.
Yeah.
It wasn't real.
Right.
Okay.
And go back and look at how close some of those victories were and who the opponents were that they beat and what the circumstances were. Everything that needed to go right for the Browns went right that year. Like they got every bounce and every break.
But we lost against the Jets that season.
What? Yeah, the only thing that didn't go their way was the COVID outbreak, and they had to start Jamarcus Bradley at wide receiver against the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And by the way, game plan by Stefanski in that game, terrible. They threw the ball like 50 times.
Yeah, why are you
going to expose Baker that game
when you've got guys off the street playing receiver?
Yeah, I never understood that game plan. That game plan made 0 sense. That should have been a game where they ran the ball 50 times, not threw it 50 times. But, I'm not an Ivy Leaguer, so what do I know?
Right.
Okay.
But he won Coach of the Year, right?
He won Coach of the Year, and he's handsome as shit, and he's going to get by on that for a while. So
I mean, it's gonna work until they run it back this year, and then they all fall flat on their face. And Jimmy Haslam says, "Why the hell am I sticking with you guys?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and kicks them all to the curb.
So,
because as much as this year is important for Baker Mayfield, if he's even our quarterback this year,
right,
it's just as important for the coaching staff and the front office.
Okay, I think that their fates are tied together right now, and
they are.
And if Stefanski doesn't detach himself from Baker, his fate's sealed. And that's why I think that something's coming, because I think Stefanski, I agree with you, James. I don't think he's as good as we thought he was, but I do think he's talented,
I think he's probably average.
I think he's smart enough to know that if he attaches his horse to the Baker Mayfield wagon, his career in Cleveland is over. So that's why I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. Something has to happen. I can't imagine that we kick off next season and Baker Mayfield is our starting quarterback. I just cannot imagine.
If he's good next season, will you say that's just another 1 year?
He won't be. That's the thing. He won't be. So I don't have to worry about that.
Exactly. And if he is good, or actually, correction, if he performs well, there will be reasonable explanations to why he is performing well.
Sure.
Okay. Which is exactly what happened in 2020. Okay. Yeah. There are reasonable explanations for why he performed well in 2020 versus 2021.
What were the reasons?
What were the reasons why he performed well? Because he wasn't asked to do much. Okay.
Yeah,
he was able to find his first read open and actually throw that pass.
Yeah.
Completed it. Okay. Yeah. The defense had an immense amount of turnover luck, which put them in good position to capitalize on good field position. Okay. All of this stuff reversed last year. It flipped.
And also, too, when you pay attention to the games that the Browns had, they would be blowing teams out and they would be coming back. Why?
Say what?
They would be blowing teams out in that 2020 season, and then teams would come back at the end and make it close.
It didn't always happen. It happened a couple times, but I mean, those teams weren't necessarily all that good to begin with either.
Yeah, that's also more indicative of what we're saying. Like that team was an anomaly. Like a lot of those wins, came under like absolutely perfect circumstances for them.
Right.
Everything fell into perfect circumstances. You're right. And, I've said it before, and I wrote something about it, but they maximized Baker Mayfield in this first season, which means there's nowhere to go but down. Okay. Yep. You are never going to see Baker Mayfield play at the level that he did in 2020 again.
No way.
That is it.
Yep.
Yeah. That was his ceiling 100%. And it only got us to the divisional round, and we only got to the divisional round by sheer dumb luck. And this season, we may be lucky to be the third place team in our division. It depends on what Pittsburgh does.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very real possibility that the Browns are a fourth place team next year. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think they're a first place team.
They're not.
No, but not with Cincinnati and Baltimore in the division. They're not.
No, Cincinnati just had one good year. Trust me on that. That was their one good year.
No, you are no.
Cincinnati's a team due for regression. I'll give you that.
I agree with you there, yeah.
They're due for regression. I still think they're a good enough team to be a division contender.
Especially in our division.
No, the Bengals, not the Browns.
Yeah, in the AFC North, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with James. I think regression is to be expected with this team and probably will happen. But they're still better than the competition in Cleveland.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. The Bengals are not going to be quite as good as they were this season. And the AFC is loaded. You got the Chiefs, you got the Bills, Chargers. Obviously, you have the Chiefs.
The Broncos.
A lot of high-level quarterback play.
Exactly.
Not in Cleveland.
Do you say the Broncos don't matter?
Broncos don't necessarily matter currently, but I mean, a quarterback trade could swing things a little bit.
Yeah, and Aaron
Rodgers.
If I'm Aaron Rodgers, why am I wasting my time going to the AFC? I want to stay in the NFC where it's wide open.
Well, that all depends on one thing in particular, and that could be whether or not Devontae Adams is still in Green Bay, because he might get franchise tagged because that window just opened.
Yep.
So, do the Browns even need to entertain the franchise transition tag?
No.
Nobody's worth tagging, right? Nobody's worth tagging.
Not on this team. On teams past, maybe, but no, not this one.
I didn't think so.
In the past, I would have said Jarvis Landry, but now, no.
Well, he's not a free agent, so you can't tag.
He wouldn't be tag eligible.
Oh, the guys that you would be looking at or tag eligible is like Jadeveon Clowney, David Njoku, Troy Hill.
That was good. Those were good
Walker.
Franchise tags just to see what they could do next season.
But that costs so much money for guys that, one, Njoku's not good. Clowney's never going to do that again. Troy Hill's a third corner on your team. And Anthony Walker, I don't see coming back next year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, my bad on the franchise tag.
You're not going to give the average of the top 5 salaries for those positions to any of those guys.
No.
Which makes this next question really important. What do we do with that 13th overall pick?
Get a wide receiver.
Okay. Do you have a specific one in mind?
No.
Okay.
I'm shocked you didn't say Garrett Wilson or Olave.
Yeah.
I would say Garrett Wilson.
With everything we were just saying about Baker Mayfield, if Kenny Pickett somehow falls to us, I would not be surprised if the Browns end up drafting him.
I don't know if Kenny Pickett would be their selection. They traditionally don't draft older players. I think Kenny Pickett's on the older side.
Well, they did with Brandon Weeden. But
we
saw how bad that
well, this version of the Browns, the Andrew Berry-led Browns.
Okay, true.
I don't think they've drafted anyone over 23 years old. And
I mean, Kenny Pickett's not that old. He'll be like 24.
He'll be 24 in June, and they've never drafted somebody at 24 years old.
Yeah, that's old for
them. McCoy was 24 years old.
This version of the Browns has never drafted anyone 24 years old.
Correct.
Okay. So looking at that, and he's got small hands. I know he's got like the double jointed thing in his thumb, but he still has small hands.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I tweeted about that a couple weeks ago. Like hand size is important. Like there's an obvious trend that quarterbacks with small hands underperform what they're expected to in the draft, and it's just part of the game. I mean, it's if your hand isn't big enough to hold the ball in a comfortable way, a lot of problems can happen. You can fumble a lot. You can let balls get away from you a lot. You can be Baker Mayfield and absolutely suck every time you go to play. So it's just not good.
So, what about you, Brian? What do you think they should do with the pick? Should they move the pick? Should they?
We have so many needs now. Like that's the problem. The problem is we have so many needs to address. I wouldn't have a problem if a Garrett Wilson is still there, taking a guy like him. But at this point, I agree with you. I don't think that they particularly like Pickett. So I don't think they're going to do that. That would be what I would like them to do, would be go for a guy like that. But I'm almost inclined to say that, like, trade down to a team that's trying to move up and get somebody so that you can acquire some more assets, because we do have some really big needs at multiple positions. So if you could trade out of that 13th spot and you can pick up a couple more high round picks, I think that this is the year that you do that, because we have a lot of holes to fill.
They do have a lot of holes to fill, and it is worth noting that none of the receivers in this draft are going to perform as well as Jamar Chase did last year. So let's get that out in the open. Okay.
Right. He's a freak.
So you might get someone who's good. But as far as trading down goes, I'm actually completely against trading down in the top half of the draft, because the return on investment is never anything remotely close to what you would get if you just sat there and made the pick. Okay. Yeah. That being said, there's only one team that I would trade down with, and it's a team that has like 3 picks following the Browns in the top 20. So if you somehow manage to get 2 of their first round picks this year and move down 2 spots or whatever the hell it is, go for it. So, I would be open to that, but that's the only one, because
you think we should get a Kyle Hamilton, the safety?
No, they need safety help, sure, but getting a safety is not a priority. I would probably look at a defensive end to replace the all but gone Jadeveon Clowney. I would probably go that route if I'm not going wide receiver. But
so Aiden Hutchinson?
Not Aiden Hutchinson.
He'll be gone.
He'll be gone, but I think he's immensely overrated, to be honest with you.
I do too, honestly. I'm a Michigan guy.
I think he got a lot of hype from the Michigan hype train.
He did, and who his dad is, his family, that happens a lot with guys who.
It does. I think Ajabo's the better defensive end prospect.
I do too. I'm glad you said that, James, because that's where I was going with it. If a guy like Ajabo's there, you take him for sure.
Yeah,
I saw. I can't remember his last name. It's George something. I'll Google it. I saw him in a mock draft. He's a Greek guy. Nope, that's not the right guy.
If it's a Greek guy, it's a lot of letters, and it probably ends in Olis.
It does end in S. I can't remember whose mock draft it was, but it was a defensive end.
On a separate note, wait, James, what team were you referring to earlier that you said like had multiple picks in the bottom half of the draft?
1 second, I found who it is. George Karlaftis.
Okay.
Yes, gotcha. That's who it is. I don't remember what team it is, but give me 2 seconds. I can just Google it. And going to the Wikipedia. The Eagles had 15, 16, and 19. So if you can get 2 of those picks, that's the only way I would trade out of 13.
They should get Georgie.
I don't know what they're going to do. I would be open to a defensive end at 13. But if they take a wide receiver, great. They need one. But until they address the quarterback, it doesn't matter.
I say they take the best player available in a position of need.
Yeah, that's essentially where I'm going to fall on.
Yeah. You take whichever position it is that is in one of your holes. If it's a receiver, you take the receiver. If it's a D end that you can still get at 13, that's that high, you take that. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion on it.
Do we only have 2? Do we only have 1 first round pick?
Yes, only 1.
Yeah,
unless we trade up, of course.
Unless we trade up from round 2, sure. If we trade down with the Eagles and get 2 of theirs.
Right.
Which I don't think is going to happen really, but considering they have 3 picks and 4 or 5 selections, or the hell it is, I don't think they're going to be motivated to trade up to 13. They're probably going to try and get to the top 10 if they trade
So
up.
to the 2023 Super Bowl champs.
Any last thoughts? Because we are at 4:00 and my dog is going ape shit.
They're gonna win it in 2023, James. Mark my words.
You said that about this year, and they didn't do dick. So
Well, I'm always confident, so it doesn't matter.
you're very optimistic.
You are the ultimate positive fan.
You're very optimistic. I have no idea where the Browns are going. They're right in the middle, and right in the middle is the worst place to be.
They're the worst.
They're gonna
team
win
in
it,
right now.
Bryan. Are they gonna win it?
What, the Cavs?
All of them.
All of them? Yeah.
No.
I anticipate all 3 teams to win 2 out of the next 3 championships in each of their respective.
And they need Taco too.
Yeah, Taco will likely start at point guard.
And at quarterback.
Quarterback likely. Yep.
Yeah.
Tallest quarterback of all time.
Game-winning field goal kicker, Taco Fall.
And wait, Bryan, on top of that, Taco Fall will score the game-winning goal for the Cleveland Monsters to win the championship.
Or no, he'll score the game-winning touchdown for the Monsters, like my sister said. All right, guys, it's been fun. I think that was a good show. I had fun. I hope all you guys join us next week, same time, same place.
Yep. We'll see you then.